Okay, so you've sent us a pretty fascinating stack of stuff on Pixar's Ratatouille.
Hmm.
Reviews, IMDb details,
Yeah.
even an analysis. I mean, are you prepping for a rewatch, or is there something else you're cooking up?
Whatever the reason you've picked a film that's way more than just a cute rat in the kitchen,
Yeah,
get ready to see it in a whole new light.
we'll uncover some hidden details for sure, but I'm really curious about the animation.
Yeah.
Some of these reviews call it groundbreaking, especially the food. How did Pixar make it look so real?
It's not just realism, it's about making food expressive.
Yeah.
Think about Remy's artistry, how he arranges ingredients. Pixar had to make that believable, almost like a painting.
Right.
They actually developed new fur techniques for Remy and really went all out with the lighting and the textures for the food, those close-ups of the sauces, simmering the steam, rising off the baguette. It's almost mouthwatering.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
That makes me wonder, is that part of why people who aren't even into animated films,
Yeah.
find this one so charming?
It's definitely a factor. I mean, Ratatouille is visually stunning, even for Pixar, but the story itself also taps into something universal, the pursuit of a passion, even when the odds are totally stacked against you.
Speaking of stacked against you, let's talk about our protagonist, Remy, the rat with the refined palate.
Yeah.
Not exactly a typical hero. How do you think Pixar makes us root for a creature that we normally find repulsive?
They humanize him literally and figuratively. Remy walks upright. He uses his little hands to cook. He's got this expressive face, big dreams. We see his love for food isn't just about eating. It's about creation art. And his family, as much as they don't get him, add this relatable element. He's an outsider, even among his own kind.
Interesting. So we've got this rat who wants to be a chef, and he ends up at Gusteau's, the legendary Parisian restaurant.
Right.
Talk about being in the right place at the right time.
But it's not just luck, is it? It's Remy's relentless pursuit of his passion that leads him there. He doesn't just stumble into the kitchen. He's drawn to it like a moth to a flame. This sets up the central theme. Anyone can cook, but it takes real dedication and talent to excel.
Which is where Linguini stumbles in, quite literally. He's the bumbling garbage boy who can't boil water, let alone cook a decent meal.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet he becomes the face of Gusteau's thanks to Remy's hidden talent.
Right.
This unlikely partnership, the puppet master chef and the charming frontman, that's what drives the comedy and the plot.
Okay, I'm already laughing just imagining Remy pulling Linguini's hair like a marionette to get him to cook.
Oh, yeah.
But there's got to be more to it than just slapstick, right?
Absolutely. This partnership also speaks to the idea of collaboration and recognizing hidden potential. Linguini, for all his flaws, has a good heart and a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
He provides Remy with the opportunity to express his talent, while Remy helps Linguini find his purpose.
So it's not just about Remy's journey, it's about the power of connection. But of course, not everyone is thrilled about this unlikely duo's success. Enter the ambitious chef Skinner.
Ah, Skinner. He's the embodiment of cynicism and greed, the opposite of Gusteau's motto.
Really?
He sees the restaurant as a money-making machine, not a place for artistic expression, and he'll do whatever it takes to get what he wants.
Which leads us to the plot twist. Linguini might be Gusteau's heir. Suddenly the stakes are even higher.
This subplot isn't just some random twist. It adds a layer of complexity to the film's themes. It makes us question the idea of legacy family secrets and what it really means to inherit a passion.
And speaking of passion, we haven't even touched on Anton Ego, the infamous food critic.
Ah, Ego, the man who can make or break a restaurant with one stroke of his pen. He represents the gatekeepers of the culinary world, the arbiters of taste and excellence. Remy's challenge isn't just to cook well, it's to impress someone who's seemingly lost the ability to be moved by food.
That sets the stage for some serious drama. We know Remy faces some huge challenges. But how does he navigate them? And what about Ego? Does he ever crack a smile?
Uh-huh.
I guess we'll find out after a short set. Just kidding. Let's dive right into part two. So we've got this unlikely partnership, a scheming chef, a food critic who's basically the Simon Cowell of the culinary world.
Right.
Where does all this lead?
Well, things get pretty tense. Linguini's newfound talent makes Skinner suspicious, and he starts digging into Linguini's past, trying to expose the fraud. Meanwhile, Remy's struggling to balance his own desires with the needs of his new friends.
It's interesting you bring up Remy's friends. The film really shows how important connection is, not just between Remy and Linguini, but also with Colette, the tough but talented sous chef.
Absolutely. Colette is a fantastic character. She's skeptical of Linguini at first, but then she sees Remy's talent and becomes a mentor to both of them. Her role shows another key theme, breaking down barriers in a male-dominated world.
Yeah.
She's the only woman in the kitchen, but she's tough-skilled, and she demands respect.
It makes me wonder if Ratatouille is also a commentary on the often cutthroat world of professional kitchens.
It definitely touches on those themes. The film doesn't shy away from the pressures and challenges of working in a high-stakes environment like Gusteau's. We see the long hours, the demanding customers, the intense competition between chefs. But it also shows the camaraderie and the passion that can bring people together, even in the middle of all that chaos.
Okay, so we've got rising tensions, blossoming friendships, and a whole lot of delicious food being cooked. But we can't forget about the looming threat of Anton Ego. He's like a ticking time bomb ready to explode with his scathing review.
And that moment comes. Ego shows up at Gusteau's, ready to judge the restaurant that everyone's been talking about. The whole kitchen staff is on edge, knowing that their future is on the line.
So what happened? Does Remy manage to wow the infamous critic?
He does something even better. He cooks a dish that takes Ego back to his childhood, a simple ratatouille that brings back these powerful memories of his mother's cooking.
Wow.
This scene is where Pixar's animation really shines. You see the colors, the textures, the steam rising from the dish. It's a feast for the senses, but more importantly, it's a feast for the soul.
That makes me think about all those reviews that praise the emotional depth of Ratatouille. It's not just about the visuals, it's about how the film connects with our own experiences with food and memory.
Exactly. Ego's transformation is really the heart of the film. He realizes that food isn't just about fancy techniques or Michelin stars. It's about the power to make you feel something, to connect you to the past, to remind you of the simple things in life.
This is where we get that amazing monologue, right? The one that everyone always talks about.
Yes, Ego's review is like a masterpiece of writing and voice acting. It's a love letter to art, a defense of the artist's right to create no matter their background or what people expect of them.
It sounds like this scene is more than just a plot device. It's a whole statement about the transformative power of art itself. But what about the fallout? Ego's review is glowing. But surely Skinner isn't just going to accept this, is he?
You're right, Skinner is furious. He's determined to expose Remy, even if it means destroying the restaurant, and this leads to the big climax of the film where Remy's secret is finally out in the open.
Oh no, I'm guessing this is where things get really crazy.
It's a turning point for all the characters. Linguini sees how talented Remy really is, and the sacrifices he's made. Colette's torn between being loyal to Linguini and her admiration for Remy, and the rest of the kitchen staff has to make a choice. Do they support the rat who's been cooking their food, or do they stick with tradition and order?
This seems like a moment where the film is pushing the boundaries of what's acceptable, both in terms of the story and the message it's sending. We're talking about a rat in a professional kitchen, which is something that would normally be totally unthinkable.
And yet the film makes us understand both sides. We get the health inspector's concerns, but we also see the genuine bond that's formed between Remy and the humans. It's a real testament to Pixar's storytelling, that they can make us root for a rat while still showing the real-world consequences of something like this.
So how does it all end? Does Remy get to live his dream? Or is he forced to go back to the sewers? And what about Linguini and the rest of the staff?
Well, that's where things get even more interesting, and we'll get into that after a short... No, I'm just kidding. Let's keep going.
All right, let's hear what happens next. Okay, so Remy's been exposed, the kitchen staff walked out, and we're left wondering what happens to our little chef and his big dreams.
This is where Ratatouille takes a really heartwarming turn. Remember Remy's family?
Yeah.
The ones who never really understood his thing for fancy food?
Right.
Well, they come to the rescue.
Wait, his whole rat clan in a 5-star Parisian restaurant?
Exactly. It's a scene that some might think is a little out there, but I think it adds this layer of beautiful chaos to the climax. Yeah. They see Remy's passion, how he's changed the lives of the humans, and they totally rally behind him. They become this miniature kitchen brigade, chopping, stirring, prepping with a speed and precision that would make any chef proud.
Okay, I'm picturing this, and it's hilarious and heartwarming. At the same time, a whole family of rats working to create this culinary masterpiece.
Yeah.
But can they really pull it off? And what about Ego? Is he going to freak out when he finds out the truth?
This is where the film really messes with our expectations. Ego sees the whole thing, the rats working like crazy in the kitchen, their movements just like a well-trained human team.
Wow.
He sees the care that goes into each dish, the love that Remy puts into his cooking, and when he finally tastes Remy's ratatouille, he's taken back to his childhood all over again.
So even after seeing a bunch of rats cooking, he's still moved by Remy's food.
Exactly. That's the power of Remy's passion. It goes beyond what he is. It breaks down all these barriers. It shows us that real talent can come from anywhere. Ego gets it. Judging Remy based on how he looks would be a huge mistake. He sees the heart, the soul, the pure talent in Remy's food.
It sounds like Ego has totally changed. He's gone from this cynical critic to someone who believes in Remy's talent.
Yeah.
But what about the restaurant? What about Linguini and Colette?
The film ends with a really satisfying ending. Skinner's schemes are revealed. Linguini finds his own way, using his charm and business skills to create something new with Remy and Colette. They open this small, cozy bistro called La Ratatouille, where humans and rats eat together in harmony. Oh, that's so cute. But it also seems kind of idealistic, with rats in a restaurant.
It's definitely a fantasy element, but I think it gets at the film's bigger message about acceptance and understanding. It's about seeing past appearances, embracing what makes us different, and recognizing talent wherever it comes from. Ratatouille reminds us that sometimes the most unlikely team can create the most amazing things.
So we've gone through the plot, the animation, the emotional depth, the crazy culinary stuff, and even a bit of social commentary. What's the final thing for our listener who obviously loves this film?
I think Ratatouille is one of those films that gets better every time you watch it. There's always something new to see, a detail you missed before, a deeper meaning that hits you differently depending on what's going on in your life. But at the end of the day, it's a story about chasing your dreams, loving what you do, and never giving up on what you believe in.
And maybe it's also a reminder to be open to the unexpected after all. Who knows? Maybe the next great chef is hiding right under our noses. Thanks for diving into Ratatouille with us. We'll catch you in the next Deep Dive.